The icon, the queen of eyeshadow palettes is back, and I cannot believe it. It is the Urban Decay Naked Palette. Let's go. Hi everyone, so welcome to today's video. Thanks for joining me. This one is going to be all about the nostalgia feels. I recently did a video, a full face of nostalgic iconic products. Little did I know that this icon was coming back, and when I show it to you, you just know it was the it product. When this launched, this took the makeup industry by storm. This palette was so successful, as Urban Decay has said, it broke the internet. A palette sold every 7 seconds, and it was just perfection. It's the Naked Palette. Yes, she is back. And let me tell you, when I saw that this was available on the Ulta website just a few days ago, I immediately bought it. I wasn't messing around because this needed to be back in my collection. Let me tell you, it's beautiful. And the feels that this just brings back to me, it transports me right back to 2010, my Ulta working days when this palette launched. It was wild. Selling off the shelf, couldn't keep it in stock. It was absolutely insane. This palette back then was the it palette. It had everything you could ever need to do a look, a soft look, a smoky look, something in between. The colors are just incredible. Do you see this palette? What more could you need from this palette? This is going to do so much, and I cannot wait to dive on in. And I asked myself, why in the world did Urban Decay ever discontinue something so incredible, so perfect? Like, why would you get rid of it, Urban Decay? Like, can someone let me know why they would discontinue this ever? They've done several different iterations of this Naked palette. So you have the original that just came back. There's the Naked 2 that was the more cooler vibes, which I'm not sure if it's still something being sold today. And then the Naked 3 was the one that had all the rosy vibes, and those were very popular. This packaging, though, when this first came out, and the new one that just came back a couple days ago, is that typical brown velour material. It does get messy, but they have changed this packaging, and it now is that metal component. So if you purchase like the Naked 3, for example, it's a metal tin-like component versus this sort of cardboard material with that velour coating. But this, bringing it back and also keeping it with that original exterior packaging is just like, it's it, right? The original one from 2010 had a double-ended eyeliner. So you had your black eyeliner and your brown eyeliner, all the shades you could ever need. It was absolutely perfection. This time, since they brought it back, it comes with a double-ended brush, which is still very useful, and this brush does look different than the previous double-ended brushes that they used to include in their palettes, and I like that sort of clear bit in the center and then the two brushes on the end. It is a brush that could be useful. Some people may love using the brushes that are provided in palettes. Others may not like it. I tend to use my go-to brushes because I can rely on them. I will try to incorporate this as I can throughout the look today. When I look at this palette, I see all of the shades that I used to use. The Virgin shade, which is the lightest one, it's that soft ivory shade, was the one that I hit pan on first. And then I did hit pan on the Naked and Buck because those are the two matte sort of tan transition type shades. This has some really beautiful soft shades. Then you have some goldeny vibes, some bronzy tones, and then you have those smoky vibes at the very end with these two shades here. You have Creep and then you have Gunmetal. So many colors that are everyday. It's like a staple palette. And when this first launched back early 2000s, there was nothing like this on the market. And of course now with so many options, so many brands, so many palettes, you can find shades very similar to this in other brands. But there's just something so iconic, so classic, so timeless about having this again that it's absolutely justifiable, the price point, which is so much more expensive now than it used to be. But regardless, I don't care because I had to have it. I had to have this palette, no questions asked. In the spirit of nostalgia, I also did use a few nostalgic brands. I'm going to list and link everything down below in the description box for you because as you can see, I've got the majority of my makeup done: brows, foundation, concealer, bronzer. We're going to do an eye look today with this palette. I will be doing more in the future, so if you want to see that, please let me know so that I can put that at the top of my to-do list for videos. But we're going to just get started and we're diving on in. Before I start with the eyeshadow, I have already prepped my lids. Today I chose to use my MAC Painterly Paint Pot. I use it almost every day. I'm going to start with a BK Beauty 212 brush. This is a crease brush, and I'm going to pick up the Naked shade, which is the third one in the palette. Looks like this. It's a light transition tan shade. I'm going to tap off the excess, and I'm going to start sweeping this back and forth in a windshield wiper motion into my crease to create a shape and add some depth and dimension to my eye. This is so surreal to me to be using this color and this palette again. It feels so good to have it back. Since this palette doesn't really have a matte skin tone color, I'm going to use a clean brush to help me blend around the edges. And I'm going to use the light shade Virgin as well, but the original one had a little bit of a sheen and shimmer to it. So I'm going to take that same brush and go into Virgin, which I said was the lightest color in the palette. Same brush, and I'm going to go around that color, the Naked shade, and go up towards the brow bone. And this one does look to have a little less shimmer than what I remember. I think that the original was a lot more shimmery because I used to use that all over the lids with some thick gel liner. Oh, the days of really thick eyeliner and super white, bright under eye concealer. Like that was me. To deepen my outer V just a little bit more, I'm going to go down a few shades to the Buck shadow, which this one is the other matte. So the Naked and Buck are the matte ones, and then the Virgin shade has a bit of a satin, a very subtle kind of sheen to it. It's not very shimmery like it used to be. So this is what I have in my crease right now. I'm going to go to this one that's a little bit deeper, a little bit warmer, and I'm going to use a flat eyeshadow brush. This is an A29 brush from the Morphe and Ariel collab. I'm going to take a little bit of that Buck shade. I'm going to tap off the excess, and I'm going to pat this right in this area here. Just kind of patting it like so, keeping it placed there. I'm going to come back and blend this out with a different brush. So I'm using this for placement only. And then with a Sephora Pro 27 crease brush, I'm now going to blend out the edge of that color and diffuse it into the Naked shade. With a BK Beauty 204 brush, I'm also going to take that same Buck shadow and I'm going to run that really close to the root of my lash and the lower lash line. From here, I'm going to switch to a pencil brush. This is the MAC 219. And I'm going to blend and soften that a little bit more. With that 219, I'm going to pick up the first Naked shadow, which was the one that I used as my transition. And I'm going to blend beneath the Buck shadow. This is where the fun happens. You have so many options for lid shades. You have that Sin shade, which is so beautiful. It's such a classic color. I remember when they had the singles as well. This used to sell a lot too, this Sin color. Then you have Sidecar, which looks like that. And then it's not in this palette, but the Midnight Cowboy, that was another popular one. The Half Baked. Look at that. That's one that I didn't use too much because that one is quite gold, and I'm not a huge fan of gold shadows. Every now and again, sure, but it's not my first choice of color. Smog, I love this. It's like a golden bronze shade. Look at this. Look at this. I can't. Let me just put them on the back of my hand just to show you the swatches of these colors. Like, that is insane. Look at that. Oh my word. Dark Horse, this one is a really dark smoky bronze. Toasted is beautiful. That has a little bit more of a rose gold vibe to it. Stunning. A smoky eye with that color. Stop. Okay, and then let's do Hustle, which is another deep shade. Hustle is a little bit cooler than Dark Horse. So this is Dark Horse, and then this is Hustle here. Still quite dark, smoky, and rich, but a little bit cooler. Dark Horse is pulling just a touch more golden, if you can see that. And then let's do Creep. Creep is also a very good one. It's a dark black, but it has a bit of a sparkle to it, and it's absolutely intense. You see the deeper tones, the smoky. I love this shade. This is Toasted. She's a beauty. And then let me wipe off my fingers and let me show you the Gunmetal shade, which is that really dark gray color. It looks blue in the palette. You can see it here. It looks blue, but it's not. It's like a dark gray. Let me show you. Let me do a swatch. It's a dark gray shade. It's very smoky. It does have those kind of bluish gray undertones to it, but it's really, really nice. Whew, okay, I just had the biggest scare of my life. My big light just kind of fell. I have these really big softbox lights in this room where I film, and it literally just fell over. Anyways, side note, we're gonna do a mix of a few different shades. So I'm gonna start with the Sin color. I'm gonna use a Morphe M709 brush. So Sin is the champagne pink shade, so it's the second one in the palette. Tap off the excess, and I'm going to sweep this in the inner part of my eye, and I'm gonna go almost halfway, not quite, but just about. And I'm also gonna take some of that in this inner part here, and I absolutely love this brush. So if you go to Ulta to buy this palette, you might as well pick up the Morphe M709. It's the perfect shadow brush with a point, which you can get right into the inner portion of your eye. You can use it on the outer V and get it right into the crease. You can apply and blend with this brush. It's really, really nice, super soft, and it's the right size too. Try to incorporate the small side of that double-ended brush that comes with the palette, and it just looks like a regular eyeshadow brush. I'm going to use that to pack on the Toasted shade. That's that rose gold. I would have gone normally zoom right on into those bronzy vibes, but I do a lot of bronze a lot of the time anyway, so I wanted to do something a little bit different. So this kind of rose gold with a little bit of depth and smokiness. This is Toasted. And then I'm gonna apply that right in the center of the lid and kind of overlap just where it meets into the Sin, and then slightly overlapping the darker buck shadow that we have on the outer V. I don't wanna cover that up entirely, but I do wanna add enough of this where you can see that there is two shades on my lid. Love that. That is so pretty. I love how those two colors go really well together. I kind of want to incorporate a little bit of some darker shades, so I'm thinking we should try a little bit of the Dark Horse, which is the really dark shade here, kind of the more golden bronze shade. This one, Hustle, has a little bit more coolness to it. So let's go with the Dark Horse. And I'm going to use a very small brush, and I'm going to get that really close to the root of my lower lashes and kind of overlap the buck shadow that I already have. And I'm only going about halfway with this color. For my inner corner highlight, I'm gonna go to that Virgin shade, which is the first one in the palette. And I'm gonna use a Rephr number 3 brush to apply this. I'm also gonna take that same Virgin shade and use that as my brow highlight with the same brush. I'm gonna go back to that same brush that I used to place the buck shadow on the outer V of my eye. I already started doing this off camera, but I just want to tap and intensify that just a bit more because we did add some shadows. We did a little bit of blending. So I don't want to lose that intensity right out here. So I want to just pat just ever so slightly a bit more. Some final things for this eye look is a little bit of eyeliner, mascara. I'm going to use a dark brown creamy pencil liner to tightline. And I'm also going to run the same eyeliner on my upper lashes, very close to the root of my lash. And I'm going to take a brush and I'm going to soften and kind of smoke out that liner before it sets. This is a long-wearing eyeliner pencil, so I want to just smudge it and create a bit of a smoky effect. As I was searching in my collection for a pencil liner, I thought I had one of the Urban Decay 24/7 eyeliners. Those are really great. They still are very good. They have a huge range of colors to choose from, everyday staple shades to some fun shades, bright shades. They have so many different options, and I wish I had them. I thought I did have the Zero, which is the black, but I don't. But what I did find was a small travel size of the Urban Decay Perversion mascara. So I thought I'd give this a try. This mascara, as you can see, it's a very full brush. I'm going to do 2 coats on the top and 1 coat on the bottom lashes. I honestly forgot how good that Perversion mascara from Urban Decay really is. I just wish, if I had to sort of like nitpick on this palette, I do wish that they would have brought back the double-ended eyeliner. I think that would have been That's like the bow on the present, the cherry on the sundae. If they could have just done that for like a limited release, just for the first time bringing it back, and then bring back that double-ended brush, that would have been great. Or just keep it with the double-ended eyeliner. That would have been fantastic. But nonetheless, I am still so excited to have that in my collection. And the vibes and the feels that I have right now is just taking me way back. Along with that nostalgic vibes, I also added some blush. I used one of my Benefit Box blushes. I chose the shade Willa today because I felt like it gave me a nice kind of rosy flush to the cheeks that didn't take away from the eyes, and it was a shade that kind of goes with pretty much anything that I can create with this Naked palette. So it was recently National Lipstick Day, and Ulta was doing a free gift with purchase, several pieces of lip products in a set that was free if you spent a certain amount. And when I was looking at the assortment that I had chosen, I completely forgot that in that set there was an Urban Decay small mini lipstick. So it's a small little mini lipstick bullet like this. They used to sell one of my all-time favorite lipsticks. So let me just talk to you about this because we're talking about all the feels. They used to have, way back in early 2000s, lipsticks in a different component. So it was purple, the cap was kind of clear with purple designs on it, and the actual end of the lipstick bullet, the part that you hold to apply it, had like a little sword on the end, and I used to love their lipstick formula. There was a shade specifically that was like a bright kind of bubblegum pink shade that I used to wear all of the time. And when we found out, when I was working at Ulta, I say we, but when Ulta found out that they're discontinuing and we had to redo the setup of the products, I bought all of the ones that my store location had in stock because I could not be without that lipstick. That was my go-to. I used every little last drop of those lipstick bullets that I bought. I don't even remember the shade name. It's probably not even available anymore with their new range of lipsticks. It's just the feels of putting on an Urban Decay lipstick. It's been such a long time, so I cannot wait to try this Backtalk shade. But first, we need to find a lip liner to go with this color. Swatching this lip liner from Charlotte Tilbury, this is the Pillow Talk Fair. It seems pretty close to the tone of the lipstick. The lipstick is going to be darker and it's going to be a little bit deeper, of course, but this lip liner should be an ideal match for it. So let's line the lips first. I cannot get over how perfect this Pillow Talk Fair shade is. I absolutely adore this formula, and that color is My Lips But Better. It's a nice pink shade that has a hint of kind of a mauve, just a subtle mauviness to it. And that lip liner is almost a perfect match. Wow. Look at that. I like this color. It's a nice pink shade, but again, it has a little bit of a mauve kind of purpley undertone to it, and it pairs perfectly with the Pillow Talk Fair lip liner. So yay, I'm so happy to have that. And because I had a little bit of lip balm on as I was filming this video, the lip doesn't feel quite as dry as I thought because it is a matte formula. This feels super comfortable right over the existing lip balm that I had. And I think that that shade goes really well, I think personally, with the eyes because they're a little bit smoky, but they're not too intense. It's not super colorful. It's very everyday, very wearable. And it allows you to play up your lips and do different shades. So by all means, feel free to use any lip color, a nude, a pink, a red, something deep or dark with this palette and create so many different endless possibilities. And I'm just so thrilled and excited to finally have this back. I think I've said that, I don't know, 5 different times, but truly I hope that you can see that this is just something that brings me so much joy to sit here, to turn the camera on, to play with makeup. This is I'm in my element. This is what makes me happy. And then having this today right in front of me feels so unreal to be able to have it. This was a palette that was a love of mine, and I'm just so happy that it's back, and I just hope that Urban Decay keeps it in stock because millions have bought this palette over the course of several years, and let everyone else enjoy it. Those that didn't get a chance to buy it, now's your chance. It's going to be listed and linked down for you in the description box with everything else. I appreciate you so much for spending some of your day here with me today. I hope you enjoyed this look. If you have this palette, do you still use it? Did you go out and buy it? Have you used it already? What looks did you create? Give me some ideas. If you want to see it again in a different video, let me know and I'll be more than happy to do that for you. Subscribe for more videos like this in the future, and you can also follow me on Instagram. It's here on the screen, my username. Hope to connect with you there. Take care, you guys, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.